In this section, we're going to take a look at cloning yourself. So let's jump into Premiere and see how to do this. Our first step is to film ourselves in the 3 different locations that we need. Double click on the video clip so it opens up in the source panel. Here we can see this is one continuous clip where I move to position 1, then move to position 2, and finally move to position 3. We need to cut this up into 3 separate clips. Move the playhead until you get to the first location, about here, and then click on the in mark. Move to the frame where it's just before I start to move off to the other location, position 2. So right here will do. And click on the out mark. Then drag the video clip down onto video line 1. Let's do the same for position 2. Move the timeline over to where I'm setting on the wall, about here, and you can just do I for in, and then let's move it out to where I just look over, but just before I move, right here will do, and do O for out. Drag this to video 2. Let's do the same for position 3. Right about here for position 3, do I for in, and O for out. Drag that video to position 3. Next, just drag them so that they're all the same time length and stacked over each other. So here we can see by disabling each line, there's position 3, position 2, and position 1. Let's enable clip 3 and 2 so we see the top layer. Now click on that layer and then go to Effects Controls, go down to Opacity, and let's click on the pen tool here. Let's zoom in a little bit so that we can see what we're doing. Use the pen tool now to make a mask around the first subject. Just like so. Now by making that mask, this is a hole in this layer, and this is why we see the layer below. So if I disable this, you can see. What's also important here is make sure that you get the shadows. I can turn the effect off by going to the FX in opacity and just clicking on it, and this means that we stay on video 3 clip. I'm able to see the mask that we made by clicking on the mask, and if I want to remove this or just not see it, not actually remove it, just click anywhere else. And if you want to see it back up again, we can just click on mask. Now if I turn the effect back on again, we're seeing this as a whole. The rest of this is removed and we see the layer below it. But if I disable those layers, you can see this is what we are looking at. The next thing we can do is go to Mask Feather and feather this so that the edges are not harsh. They'll blend in with the shadow in the tree and the bushes. Let's enable clip 2 here, and we now can see the layer here underneath. So now we have to make the same mask for that. So make sure that you are clicked on layer 2 or video 2, go to opacity, once again click on the pen tool, and let's make a mask around here. Just a simple mask. I'll try to move into the shadow area so that we pick that up also. So now we have one mask on layer 1 and one mask on layer 2. We'll do the same thing and just feather this so it blends in with the grass and the bushes and isn't the harsh flat line. Again, let's turn the effect off by selecting FX and clicking on it once so we can see everything. If we click anywhere else, the blue line mask will disappear. It's still there, but we don't see it. If we want to see it again, click on mask. And next we're going to enable the third clip, or in this case, video clip 1, the lowest one on the bottom. Now you might be wondering why you don't see the first person on clip 1. It's enabled. And the reason being is that we are on clip 2, we left the effect off. If we turn this back on, we now have the 3 same clones all in the same space. So let's get our head around this effect. It's a little bit confusing sometimes for people to understand. So what we're seeing here is obviously it's this little pancake of top down. So on the very bottom one, if we disable the other 2, this is what we're seeing. This was shot on a tripod, so this is everything is here. If I enable layer 2, we see me sitting on a wall here. If I click on the mask, it's because that is the only part that we masked out. If I disable the lower path, that's the hole in layer 2. I'm only showing this through down onto the onto the first one. So that is a hole in this second layer clip just being allowed to come through onto this one, the lower one. Same thing for the upper one. The upper one is here, but if I look at the mask for the upper one, by clicking on mask, and I would disable the other 2, I've just got a hole here that's showing that through down onto the first one. If I enable this one, these are the 2 holes in each one, the mask that we've made. And then when we enable the lowest layer, we're seeing these masks that we created shining through, or being allowed to layer down onto the first clip. And the effect is that you see a cloning effect. So let's take a look at the final result.